So this past weekend, Prey released on Hulu exclusively, and this was a movie that I was very much anticipating, being a pretty big fan of the first two Predator movies, not so much a fan of the movies that came afterward, but I'm going to get more into that later on in the review. So Prey, how did it stack up, and what did I think of the overall movie itself? Well, the thing is, when the movie first came out, I was much like you guys and said, this is a bad idea. You're going to bring the Predator back into a era where there's no guns, no anything. How is this going to work? You're going to make the main lead a female. Like, this feels like you guys are going a certain corner that pretty much everyone in Hollywood is doing, and I didn't know how I felt about that, but I held my judgment until I saw the first trailer. And when I saw the first trailer, I was actually shocked on how much I really enjoyed that first trailer. It was everything that I wanted a Predator movie to be. But you know, sometimes the trailers are very misleading. What was the actual movie going to be like? Is it everything that the trailer was hyping up? And that was something that I was very, very curious about. And then as reviews started coming out and I started seeing the positive word of mouth, I really started getting excited for this movie. I am a massive fan of the first two Predator movies, but since those movies, it felt like the studio didn't really know where to take the franchise. We had Predator fight the alien, then we had Predator on its own planet, then we had this super Predator, and I was really looking forward to that Shane Black Predator movie, and then once again, it fell into the tropes of this generic Predator movie where we go over the top sci-fi with super genetics and all this, and I just wanted Predator to go back to basics. I wanted the Predator to hunt fools. That's all I wanted. Predator to hunt fools. No stupid sci-fi plot, no fighting aliens, nothing. I just wanted Predator to go back to basics, and to my surprise and very much my delight, Prey does that. Everything that I was sort of concerned about with them going back to the 1700s and fighting Indians and having a female lead, all that quickly just went away when I saw this movie. Now, I'm going to get into the positives that I liked about this movie. I thought visually this movie looked fantastic. It looked so good that it's a shame that this movie is on Hulu Plus. This movie easily should have been in theaters, but I know the fear that the studios were having because the Predator movies were just diminishing returns at this point, where each one just failed. And I do believe that if this movie does get a sequel, that it will be in theaters. But this movie is just gorgeously shot, very well directed by the director who did 10 Cloverfield Lane, another movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. 10 Cloverfield Lane is probably my favorite movie out of the Cloverfield franchise, and I mean, you can say that's not really saying much after where it went after 10 Cloverfield Lane, but 10 Cloverfield Lane is a fantastically well-directed movie starring John Goodman, and I was really looking forward to what he was going to bring to a Predator movie, and I was hoping he wasn't going to let me down like Shane Black did, and he didn't. This movie is a great movie about character development and coming to age story. It's about this character who wants to become this hunter because everybody keeps telling her, you can't do this, you can't do this, and it drives her even more. We get to experience this character as she grows, as she learns to hunt, and the one thing I love the most about this movie is it relies on her being smart. She has to outthink the Predator in order to survive. It's not about brute strength and force. It's about thinking, about overcoming, outsmarting the Predator. Look, see what it's doing, and do what other people fail to do, and I really like that about the movie. Another thing I thought was fantastic about the movie was that there was a lot of things that basically made you think other things were going to happen. Like, it kind of subverted your expectations. There's a scene where a mud pit happens, and you're like, oh, this is going to come in later, they're going to camouflage, and they subvert your expectations. Then there's a scene where this entire field of buffalo have been skinned. You're like, oh, look what the Predator did. This is crazy. It subverted your expectation. It was all story driven, and you see where the Predator came down to earth because it wants to hunt some of the best predators, some of the best predators on the planet, and you see him as the Predator goes after stuff like bears and like lions and all that stuff, mountain lions. He goes after the predators that are hunting smaller prey, and then he hunts the predators. And I thought that was fascinating because he wants the best hunt that he can get, and then he finds it in the form of human life on the planet, and then he begins to hunt human life. And from that point on, our main protagonist is now trying to outrun yet prove herself by hunting this predator that is killing all of her people, and then be able to show that she can do this. And in the meantime, she is maneuvering and outthinking and just coming up with different ideas and ways to try to destroy this thing that is hunting down her and her people. And I just thought all that was really fascinating, and I really just enjoyed the overall plot of the movie. Now, when it comes to negatives, I can only think of really one negative, and it's not a negative that I personally have. It's a negative that I've seen a lot of people on the internet talking about, and that is the pacing of the movie and how slow the movie actually is. And for me, I will tell you that this does not come on a negative for me, but I can see where some of you guys might look at this movie and feel like maybe the first 45 minutes is a little bit slow, but I don't see that at all. To me, the first 45 minutes is a perfect setup of seeing this character, how she is growing, how she is learning, what are her struggles, what is her and her people dealing with on a day-to-day basis. We get to learn and feel what it's like to be in her tribe and be in her mindset. And when stuff happens later on in the movie, it makes all that the character development that happened within the first 30 to 45 minutes of the movie it made it even better. It was more satisfying when you get to see everything after the struggle that she has been through. So although I do see where some people might look at it and say, hey, you know what, this is a little slow, it didn't really work for me, but when the action started ramping up, it was fantastic. To me, I felt like this was a great character development movie. This was a great character study, and it brought the Predator franchise back from being this crazy sci-fi over-the-top stuff and made it more back to basics, where the Predator is hunting a person, you are following this person in her group or her tribe, and you are following them on their journey and see how this all comes about. And I absolutely enjoyed that. So although I can see where other people might find this slow, for me personally, as a viewer watching this movie, I enjoyed and soaked up every minute of it. I absolutely loved it. The visuals were fantastic. Everything that was in this movie, I just absolutely loved. And I really wish this movie was in theaters. Again, the director of 10 Cloverfield Lane, another movie that a lot of people could say is pretty slowly paced. He really nailed it out of the park with Prey. So let's go over to the scoreboard and give it an actual score. So Prey, I give it a solid 9 out of 10. I just thought the movie was absolutely fantastic. Everything from the directing to the cinematography to the action set pieces, everything I just thought was absolutely fantastic. So guys, that is my review of Prey on Hulu. I think it is a must watch. I think you guys need to go check it out, and hopefully it gets a sequel, and hopefully that sequel goes into theaters. But I want to know what you guys think. Be sure to leave your comments in the comment box below. Have you seen Prey? What did you think? Until next time, as always, I am Robert Storms, and that's my opinion.